When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
Tucker, you are not the father. This has to be wrong!
After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
If it was okay to have anal sex.
No apologies.
You were talking about things that probably you shouldn't talk about.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I finally had my own show! At one point, your ancestors owned slaves.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off, Max.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with your host, Alex Stein, starts right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to After Hours with Alex Stein. And you know, we have some crazy news. As usual, another transgender shooter is on the loose in Canada. Well, I guess they got him, but we'll get into that. And as well as Donald Trump, I think this is the biggest win of his whole entire term so far. He is stopping the automatic start-stop when your car is at the red light. I'm so excited about that because every time I'm in a rental car and they stop and the engine turns off, it makes me absolutely sick. We're also going to get into a little more Indian love, not hate, Indian love. And we got a lot to talk about tonight, but I want to start off with this trans shooter. Their name is Jesse Van Rootsler. I don't even know they're Canadian, so, you know, I don't know how to speak Canadian. And apparently this 18-year-old who was groomed by his mother from a very young age went to a school and killed a bunch of kids, but also killed their family. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let's play Saw It, number 2, and we'll get a little context of this person, but a very sad situation happening in Canada.
I will say this. We identified the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and in social media. I can say that Jesse was born as a biological male who approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female both socially and publicly.
So this transgender shooter killed their 39-year-old mother and their 11-year-old stepbrother. It's just absolutely insane. But if you do any research into it, the mother transitioned Jesse at 12 years old. So Jesse has been transitioning for 6 years on all kinds of hormones, all kinds of puberty blockers, probably, I'm guessing, on SSRIs as well, antidepressants. And this is the result of that. And, you know, our government here is putting in legislation that is stopping these transgender surgeries, but Canada is out of control. Half of the population is Indian and the other half is basically transgender. And I'm being a little egregious with that. But my point is, this is really not all Jesse's fault. I mean, he does take a lot of responsibility, but I blame his mother. She seemed like a woman that was a transgender activist from her posts online. And really and truly, he's a young kid. I mean, if you tell a 12-year-old they're born in the wrong body, there's no doubt in my mind that that 12-year-old is going to be mentally ill. So, of course, all of the people that died, it is Jesse's fault, but I do believe that the mother takes a lot of blame. And, you know, the mother got shot and killed, so I don't want to come here and just demonize her, but it's always the parents that do this to their children. It's always an adult that facilitates this or enables this kind of thinking, and it's ridiculous. And it doesn't matter how much legislation you put in, there's always going to be sick and evil parents. And for some reason, there's always a trend with transgenders. They're very violent. And I think if there's a person that doesn't respect their own life, then they're not going to respect the lives of others. Let's play Saw It number 4. And this is just kind of giving you a little taste of how trans people think that they should act in public.
Angry. Go out, buy a gun. It's okay to be angry.
Get out of my face now!
If you try to stop me from going into a woman's bathroom,
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
be the last mistake you ever make.
It is ma'am.
Find that anger.
Just because people. Hey!
Harness it to do good in the world. This anger.
Done, man. We can just make a bad say that some of us. Well,
Anger is probably my primary source of motivation.
you want to call me sir again?
The thing is, you don't
cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
It was a call to action or call to arms.
Don't be afraid to show your anger.
Now, I wish on one of these gambling apps like Polymarket or Kalshi that we could actually gamble on who the next school shooter is going to be, because I guarantee it is going to be a transgender person. You can just watch that video and see that their only response to any sort of kickback is violence. And I was recently at the Texas Senate hearing being very prophetic, and I'm not proud of it, I'm not happy about it, but it's very obvious that these people are deranged. They're out of touch with reality, and they're very impulsive, and that is a bad combination that oftentimes leads to violence. Now, I went and spoke at a Texas public hearing about the bathroom bill that they passed in Texas that outlaws biological males from going to the women's restroom and vice versa. And I think this was a very important bill that got passed, but everything that I said in the next clip that we're going to play basically became true. And I hate that for society. I hate that the next school shooter is more than likely going to be trans, because I believe 7 out of the last 8 mass shooters have all identified as either transgender or non-binary. It's a trend that I see that is going to continue to happen until we stop telling people that they're born in the wrong body. So let's play this clip, and then I'll give you guys a little more context.
Welcome. Introduce yourself. Go ahead.
My name's Alex Stein. I'm considered one of the sexiest men in conservative politics. And one thing I want to say, a lot of people are going to hear my testimony and you're going to say you're anti-LGBTQ. I want to say that's impossible because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. So obviously I have a lot of gay pride. But, you know, a lot of conservatives like yourself, you want to outlaw transgenders in women's sports. I disagree. I like transgenders in women's sports because you can gamble on them and win money. You know, I won so much money on Leah Thomas's propeller in that pool. I almost turned draft kings into draft queens. And, you know, I actually like transgenders in the military, too, because, first of all, transgenders are some of the meanest people on planet Earth, so they'd make a good soldier, don't you think? And then, you know, second of all, transgenders love to do mass shootings. So, you know, that's perfect for a military veteran. And then on top of that, the suicide rate is incredibly high among transgender people, so we could just use them like the Taliban has suicide bombers. Maybe you guys can actually, you know, if you commit suicide, actually help us in the battlefield. So that would be good. So I think we need transgenders in the military and women's sports. Now, when we come to the bathroom bill, though, this is an asymmetrical problem because, first of all, no dude cares if, like, a bisexual woman comes in there and tries to use, like, a pee funnel. You know, if some lady boy comes in there, some, you know, stud comes in there, wants to pee in the urinal. No guy's going to be threatened by, you know, a trans woman. But we don't want these gargoyles in a dress, you know, some chick with a coming in there and trying to pee or poop next to my girlfriend, because that's disgusting. Sadly, I called it. I mean, that was on the Texas Senate floor, but I think if you look at the last few shooters, they were all transgender. And I think if somebody was in Jesse's life that said, Jesse, you're not born in the wrong body, maybe you should go into the military, because obviously this person has a big, you know, they like guns, they like shooting stuff. And there are outlets, if that is something that you're really passionate about, where you could use that in a positive way. So I know a lot of what I said were jokes, but in reality, everything that I said was true. And that's kind of the best humor. That's why you're laughing at it, because the best jokes are based on humor that is real. And oftentimes, when you go and you speak at these meetings, it can be very intense. That was a trans bathroom bill, and the reason that it was hitting the gavel, because all the transgenders that were in the balcony were yelling at me for saying this, proving my point exactly, that these people are very impulsive, they're very aggressive. They don't care about what the public thinks about them. They don't care about kind of fitting into society's, you know, normal standards. They don't care about being polite. As a matter of fact, they try to be very impolite. And I think it's attention-seeking disorder, which, you know, I'm empathetic to, because I probably have that same thing myself. But at the end of the day, when we see all these mass shootings and we see all these young people that are on so many different hormones or on so many different psychotropic drugs, this is why we're going to continue to see this happen. Even Charlie Kirk's shooter, Tyler Robinson, was a gay guy that was in a relationship with Lance Twiggs, who liked to do furry cross-dressing and look at all kinds of disgusting pornography. So society is only going to get more degraded until we tell kids that they're born in the right body. And sadly, Jesse went and murdered a lot of people, including his stepbrother and his 39-year-old mother. But I think that the mother has a lot to blame with this. And I know that you're an 18-year-old, you're an adult, but imagine 6 years of hormones, the effect that that's going to have on your ability to basically make reasonable decisions. And I think Jesse lost that ability, and that's why they felt like they needed to go do this. And it doesn't excuse the shooting. It just kind of paints the picture and gives it context for what's happening in society. And I hope that I'm wrong, but I think this is going to happen again and again and again until we stop telling children they're born in the wrong body. And if you're a doctor that tells kids that they're born in the wrong body and that you give drugs to them that they don't need, you deserve to lose your license. And luckily we have a good president, Donald Trump, that is making it where it's a lot harder for these doctors to prescribe these life-changing drugs to very young children, especially a 12-year-old. I mean, how can a 12-year-old say or know anything about their future when they're 12 years old? All we cared about are me. I cared about Star Wars. I cared about cartoons. I cared about just normal stuff. But these young kids in this gender-affirming care is evil. It's demonic. It's satanic. And it's similar to situations in the Bible where parents would sacrifice their child to Moloch. And I think that's what's going on. We have parents that are literally sacrificing their kids to Satan, thinking they're doing the right thing, when in reality, they're punishing a whole other group of innocent people just by enabling this mental illness. So gender dysphoria is a serious problem, and the connection that it has with mass shootings, it really needs to be investigated, and it needs to stop. But until we have a society that tells kids, you're born in the right body, you don't need to change, sadly, I don't think it's going to stop at all. All right, folks, coming up next, we're going to talk about an HGTV host who was fired for saying the N-word. Very spicy stuff. We'll see you after the break.